Shocking news this afternoon as Democrats are calling for a new House Speaker, not Nancy Pelosi. Widespread support is growing, and hence the Purple Power needs to step up to get a new Speaker of the House, not Nancy Pelosi. Now that she's been reelected, the push is underway to choose another Democrat who will align the party after 8 to 10 seats have been lost in the House by Democrats. This is a major development, and this is being a Mitch. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'm here, you're here, and I'm really glad you joined me on Afternoons LALATE for our new series, Being a Mitch, which replaces McConnell versus Trump. It's an incredible day in which we're focusing on the Senate races. This series, Being a Mitch, focuses on the balance of power of the Senate and your stimulus, what the Senate means to getting your stimulus. And I have massive breaking developments this afternoon, so thank you for joining me. If you've not subscribed to this channel, please do, because we're rolling out new programming across the board today. Everything from Holidays LALATE, which debuted this morning at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time, and then this video, which debuted yesterday. So we're spicing it up like a spicy latte for the holiday season. Make sure you subscribe and hit the alert at the front of this channel. Also, like this video. It's helping because the shows are all ranking number 1 to 3 or 5 throughout the day in the rankings worldwide, so keep it up. In this video, I'll be going over the breaking details about why there's a movement underway among Democrats to get a new Speaker of the House, what happens for the vote, who's in the runnings, and what the Purple Power can do. Yes, this is incredibly exciting and great news. Second, I'll be going over those incredible comments from Nancy Pelosi today about stimulus, and it shows why there needs to be a new Speaker of the House. Third, I'll be focusing on what could be coming in the next few days and why it's important to dial into where your stimulus is for purposes of the Senate progressing. All right, a lot of breaking details, and it's so exciting. I'm so glad you're here, and let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news, as you sit here today, is that Mitch McConnell yesterday said that the Senate's first item of business will be passing stimulus. Robust stimulus, getting it done right away. Mitch McConnell categorically is known for doing quick bills, and he can do this quickly. He says the first item of business, that's his exact words, is stimulus and getting it out right now. He's looking for renewed nonpartisan compromise from both sides and is actually mentioning the Senate and mentioning the president and getting it done. This is categorically incredible great news. He also talks about the provisions. And yes, earlier in today's videos on Shaq and Purple, I went over those provisions. Now I want to focus on what's happening over in the House. Because now that you know that the Senate wants to pass stimulus, which is absolutely incredible, and that the Senate wants to give you the stimulus right away, which is incredible, I want to focus on what the House thinks about the situation. Well, be prepared to shake your head. And I don't mean shaking it because you want to dry the hair after going to the hairstylist. I'm just going to be surprised by this remark. Nancy Pelosi today said that she's optimistic that the Democratic House and the White House, there's someone else. How about the Senate? Did she mention the Senate? No. Okay, more about that in a second. Had the opportunity to deliver extraordinary progress, including issues like healthcare. What? Infrastructure, excuse me, and clean government. Is that a joke? Clean government? Can we just clean out the bad people out of government? Is that what she's referring to? I think that just sort of, that was seats for stimulus. She acknowledges it was a challenging election, but the election results made her proud. If you see the problem with the, let me shake my head comment there, was that there was no mention of the Senate. It's as though the Senate doesn't exist. It's as though she didn't win the Senate. It's as though Mitch McConnell doesn't exist. And the powers that be to get your stimulus relief don't exist. We're back to old stories. What's important to understand is that if is that the way to get a bill passed has not changed yesterday to today. If you're new to this channel, let me remind you how a bill becomes law. It starts in the House of Representatives, it's voted in the House of Representatives, then it goes to the Senate, and then it's voted in the Senate, passed in the Senate, and then it lands on the president's table to be signed. If it doesn't pass the Senate, it doesn't pass. What the Temple of Doom, Nancy Pelosi, had predicted for upwards of 6 months was not to give you stimulus and hold on to it on the belief of a blue wave, meaning that the Republicans would fall in the Senate, meaning the Democrats would take the Senate, and that she could ultimately write whatever she wanted to write, and it would be passed by the Senate. That's not happening. The Senate is held by the Republicans. They retained ownership of the Senate. So now they're saying, this is incredible great news, let's compromise. And this is incredible great news. All the deal provisions that shouldn't be in there should not be in there. Big salary raises to federal employees who already make 6 figures a year. Salary raises to the Department of National Parks, which have nothing to do with COVID-19, shouldn't be in there. Big bailouts for Andrew and Gavin should not be in there. So you assumed that we were on a great stepping foot, and we were so excited and moving on day one after the election when we had those great comments from Mitch. Someone said in the comments that I'm not a particular fan of Mitch, but I love his comments, which was very true. Then you see her comments, and you expect it to be sort of what they are usually, but she doesn't even acknowledge the Senate exists, and she talks about doing a deal with the White House. Let me give you a reality check. If Joe Biden captures the presidency, she's not negotiating with Steve Mnuchin anymore. Steve Mnuchin and her negotiating and leaving out Mitch McConnell on the curb is no longer happening. Your number one Republican in Congress on Capitol Hill will be Mitch McConnell. If President Donald Trump does not get reelected, she has to negotiate with the Senate. What's important to understand is that there's that step. And then there's another surprising result. You heard it earlier on this channel, and boy, this is incredible great news. The incredible great news is that seats for stimulus, the original hashtag of this channel, the original hashtag of the Purple Power, which I established upwards of about a month ago. When I rolled out Purple Power, I rolled out the very first hashtag, along with LALATE, Write the Bell, was seats for stimulus. Guess what happened? The Democrats lost House seats because they didn't give you stimulus. Purple Power won. Both Republicans and Democrats lost seats because they did not give you stimulus. And now we see that Nancy Pelosi's House Democrats actually lost seats. They didn't gain seats in the House. Somewhere between 8 to 10 seats. And so then there's this. It's compounding. Now there's a major new article out, and I have to certainly disclaim the source of the article, but I'm just giving you what it says. Daily Mail, of course, but Daily Mail is claiming that Republicans have now, that Democrats have now stepped up and have now prepared to delegate to choose another Speaker of the House. Yes, amid concerns that the fall of 8 to 10 Democratic seats in the House was a bloodbath. 2, to confirm that the Democrats not taking the Senate was a horrible show of disfavorment to the handling of stimulus negotiations by the Temple of Doom. And 3, that the narrative that the progressives wanted to push for stimulus should have been where we were. Let me go over what this means for you, because I know this is a lot to digest, and I know it's very exciting, and I know you're about to do a little dance in the corner. Let me explain what this means. First of all, when the Speaker of the House is not elected by the American public. To be a Speaker of the House, you have to be reelected as a member of the House. She was reelected as a member of the House. Then comes the issue of Speaker of the House. Who votes on the Speaker of the House? The members of the House vote on the Speaker of the House. Who are the candidates for the Speaker of the House? Ultimately, they have to just nominate themselves. They say, hey, I want the position. I want to give a run at it. Every time that there has been a Speaker of the House race in recent years, there have been upwards of 1 to 2 candidates. And these are the majority candidates. They are Democrats if the Democrats control the House. So what the Daily Mail article is claiming is that fellow Democrats don't like what's happening with the stimulus negotiations, don't like that that the Democrats lost 8 to 10 seats, don't like the handling of the Speaker's role in recent months, and don't like how the failure of the Democrats to take the Senate, and they're saying it's time for new leadership. Let me explain a couple things going into what the article says if you're new to this channel. If you're not, you sort of already know where we're at. First, there's the Blue Dog Democrats. These are actually Democrats who are in the House. And they wrote Nancy Pelosi several times not to do what she's doing, which was to stay at $3.4 trillion and say, my way or the highway, I'm not moving on $3.4 trillion, and not do standalone bills for stimulus checks, not do standalone bills for unemployment benefits. They wrote her a letter. She said the letter was a bunch of bollocks. Then you have the problem solvers who are Republicans and Democrats in both the House and Senate. So you have two bodies of Congress and both parties. They wrote her. She wouldn't even meet with them. They went to her door. She wouldn't even meet with them. And the reason why hazard pay is not in that bill is because she wouldn't even meet with them. Then we have the new Democratic coalition, which are House Democrats. They're the larger group. There's a lot of people in their group. They wrote her several times to do a standalone bill for stimulus. She would not do it. And when asked why she did a standalone bill for the post office from Carolyn Maloney and brought the House members back into town from their vacation, she was actually asked by PBS News, why don't you do what the new Democrat coalition is asking you to do? She says, I never heard of their letter. What do you mean never heard of their letter? It's been all over broadcast news. They delivered it to you. Well, they don't say that to my face. And so it's that sort of intentional refusal to acknowledge dissent from anyone in her caucus that has now compounded to us to where we are today. So now what is going on? Democrats are now stepping up. Most importantly, I'm reading from Daily Mail. Most importantly, it's not Nancy Pelosi. It's one Democrat lawmaker who told The Hill that New York Representative Hakeem Jeffries is said to be a viable challenger for Speaker of the House. He is an established Democrat who will pass muster with AOC's squad. Who is AOC? She's the Democratic, the very popular progressive Democrat out of New York. And her squad includes Rashim Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, and exactly AOC, along with Ayanna Pressley. Sorry if I mispronounced anyone's name in there. And the progressives represent a faction, a fraction of the Democrat coalition in the House, and they have not been happy with Pelosi. It dates back to even earlier in this channel that I talked about one candidate, a Kennedy. Pelosi backed the candidate of Kennedy over an incumbent who the progressive wanted. Remember, when we talk about progressives, in the Senate, the progressives are Bernie Sanders and Senator Harris, who wrote the $2,000 bill for $2,000 a month for 6 months for stimulus checks, or until pandemic goes down or unemployment improves. They push for a lot of big stimulus for you. And ultimately, Nancy Pelosi didn't want to do the progressive policies. She wanted to do the big government policies. Remember, progressives are about more money to the people, more money in the hands of people. $2,000 checks for 6 months or until the pandemic improves or until unemployment goes away. Senator Harris said $1,200 is not enough. The speaker's position, Nancy Pelosi's position, is I'll give you $500 and I'll cut it for 8 months and live with it. And so you see why there is a dissent. Two centrist Democrats in the House say they are contacting colleagues to round up support for House Democratic Caucus Chairman Hakeem Jeffries for House Speaker. I know the vote on the floor is difficult for Speaker. I know there's a number of people who did not vote for Speaker Pelosi last time, said McCarty. As our numbers continue to grow, I think at the end of the day, no matter what end up, we'll be able to have a very big say or even run the floor when it comes to our policy. This is Pelosi's House Minority Leader, Kevin McCarty, who's, of course, a California Republican and a close colleague of Pelosi. He believes she's going to be able to hold the speakership position. But the issue is that the question, it's sort of a compound question. First of all, who will step up for the vote? And second, who will actually win the vote? And ultimately, Will Pelosi go for another round, which she says she will, amid questions and concerns whether she's actually retiring? So it's important to understand is Purple Power needs to do its thing. Remember, Purple Power is both Republicans and Democrats. So of my Democrats who are the Purple Power, you need to step up. You need to make it very clear that if you want a new Speaker of the House, get it done. Ultimately, you already see the erosion that's happening right this morning as Mitch McConnell says, I'm ready to negotiate. Let's get it done. And her response is, I'm ready to talk to the White House. I'm not talking to Mitch McConnell, and I'm not talking to the Senate, who actually has to pass the bill. So you see why things need to get done right away. What should be the hashtag? What should be the hashtag? Perhaps it's hashtag push out Pelosi. Let me get to some incredible questions and comments from yesterday's recording. Terry McCain, good evening, Purple Power family, and good evening, LALATE and Sirloin. Sirloin says hello. Natalie Denise, we will hold Senator McConnell to his words. Deborah, are we sure he doesn't want has a big fever? No, Mitch McConnell actually meant what he said. Calling, hello, Mr. Purple. You're so blessed for supporting us. Blessing your way in a Purple Power family. Well, thank you. Anita, oh, Mitch, thank you. And Purple Power, God knows we are the people. Seriously, we need our stimulus. Tammy, oh, Nancy, you're going to start playing well with others. Renee, how are we going to deal with waiting for the Temple of Doom? She was warned, and I seen her reaction of Mitch McConnell. And I believe she was scared he almost didn't get the vote. Purple Power family, you never doubt the power. And thanks to LA, we unite and bless our words. Thank you. Much love, family. Well, thank you. That's a wonderful comment. Helen Capone. Hello, LA and our Purple Power family. Tracy, all that money sitting there. Brian, sounds good, but Mitch doesn't like to give direct payments. That's a very well said statement. Mitch, 3 times before, did not send out stimulus, but it's important that you get Mitch on point. Elizabeth, LA, you make me smile. Thank you for not giving up, Purple Power. Terry, people need help so bad. Michelle, Ohio, and yes, stimulus to the guy in the purple shirt. Javon, I'm so glad I'm part of the Purple Power family. Heart, heart, heart. I'm so glad you are, Javon. Shirley, send Mitch a Purple Power t-shirt. Yes, or a Purple Power mask. He loves to wear masks. God bless him. Captain Crunch, Mitch is feeling jolly after getting the win. He is. Diane, how did that horrible woman get back in? Well, she's not Speaker of the House, hence this recording. And Gina, being a Mitch, I liked you before, but now I'm really a fan. That's too funny. If you like this video and you like this channel, please like this video. Being a Mitch is on day 2, and we're just getting started. Subscribe to this channel if you're not, drop a comment below, and start the push, Purple Power. Start the push on social media. Coming up next is seats for stimulus. Don't miss that because I'm breaking news about what's happening for your stimulus from Wall Street. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay LA for more.